That's cool. We're having a quite diverse audience today, Arthur. So people from all over the
Very
world
nice.
are here today to learn about StayFi and Syncbnb and how we integrated and what people can expect to gain by using each service. So quick intro, Arthur Colker is the CEO of StayFi. It's a service that allows hospitality owners and managers to increase their direct bookings, and this is just one aspect of what they do, by allowing them to capture details about their guests, which they can then use as a remarketing tool. So they use StayFi to capture emails of their guests, and then they can do remarketing to those guests. But I'll let Arthur say more about his service. Maybe, Arthur, you'd like me to start with just saying a few things about Syncbnb. I think most of the participants here today are either Syncbnb customers or they've subscribed at one point in our mailing list. I'm sure there are a few that are coming from your side. I think you posted on your social media, maybe you even sent a newsletter out. So let me just start with saying a few things about Syncbnb, and then we'll pass the torch on to you to learn more about StayFi. So let me just try to share my screen here and see if this will work correctly. Share screen. And I select the screen and I click share. Theoretically, you should be seeing Syncbnb in action, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. If you can see it, I'm guessing everyone else can. So what's Syncbnb? Syncbnb is a channel manager for vacation rental with a few PMS features. So what a channel manager does, and I'll show you this in the booking section, we pull all your bookings from all your channels. So let's filter this by booking events. You'll see we have bookings from Airbnb, from booking.com, from your own website, offline bookings that you've added manually. We gathered them all in one place, and you can see them in one unified calendar. And then we update all your other channels whenever there's a new booking so that you never get double bookings. So Syncbnb makes sure you never get double bookings and allows you to manage bookings from multiple sources. So around that, we've built a bunch of other features like rate management. So you can use Syncbnb to manage your rates, and then we push those rates to all your channels. So today we support Airbnb, Booking, and Expedia, and in a few weeks we will also support Vrbo, and we will also support Vrbo for hosts with less than 5 properties. And this is first time any channel manager is offering that in the world. So this is huge for us. I'm very excited and waiting for this to happen. We have expense management. So this is a module where our customers can add all their expenses and they can see statistics about how much they spend each month, and they can filter by property, and they can see how much each property costs them either per month or even per day. They can drill down per day, and it's very easy to add an expense. It's just 10 seconds and you've added the expense. So we've made it very, very easy for anyone to use this and manage this. Detailed reports. So you can see reports about your bookings, about your block nights, statistics like occupancy rate, ADR, stuff like that. You have a full profit loss report. So if I choose a rate period here, like 2021, for example, then we will see a full profit loss report for 2021. And I can filter this down by property or by channel, and I can see how much money I'm making or losing from my properties. We have a marketplace where you will find a bunch of companies that we're partnering with, and many of them we have integrations with. So you'll find StayFi here, for example, and you can see more things about what they do and how they work. And if you click get this offer, then you get a 50% discount for the first 3 months. And this is only available for Syncbnb customers. So make sure to get this offer if you're a Syncbnb customer and you're watching this now. I won't go into more detail right now. I'll just say that anyone can book a demo with us. Just go to syncbnb.com and talk to our live chat and ask to book a live demo to see how Syncbnb works. And so you can ask questions regarding the way that you operate your properties, and we will answer those. Or you can directly start a new trial. Just go to www.syncbnb.com and click on the button on the top right. It says free trial. And then all you have to do is just give your email, your name and password, and you're signed up and you can start using it. So that's all from me for now. I'll take questions about Syncbnb in the and then after Arthur's over about StayFi, we can take questions, both of us, about what StayFi is, what Syncbnb is, and how we synchronize and how we integrate with each other. And with that, I'll just pass the torch on to Arthur. So Arthur, thank you for being here, and please tell us more about StayFi.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Alex. So what I'll do is I'll first kind of just do a quick introduction of StayFi, show a few slides of kind of like the background of the company, how we started, what we're really aiming to solve and help short-term rental and vacation property managers and owners with. And then I'll go into a demo where you can actually see how StayFi works for a specific group of properties that somebody's operating. So let me try to share my screen. Can you see that?
Yep, perfect.
Yep. So just a little about my background. I'm the founder and CEO of StayFi. We started just over 2 years ago. And just to give a little background of how StayFi started, my background is in digital marketing, and I actually was running as a consultant marketing for a short-term rental company here in the United States called Heirloom that operates about 100 properties in 5 markets. And one of the biggest issues they had in terms of marketing was collecting data to do more direct booking and remarketing to their existing guests. So they had large homes that had anywhere from 8 to even 20 adult guests staying there simultaneously, and they wanted an easy way to remarket to everybody staying in their properties, because that's a lot of people, and they didn't have an easy way to collect that data. So we actually looked at a bunch of solutions. One that was very appealing was the type of Wi-Fi marketing you've already done in like a Starbucks, an airport, or hotel, where everyone has to log in through a captive splash page in order to access the Wi-Fi. It turned out that those solutions that are built for like coffee shops, hotels, airports weren't really suitable for single-family homes or condos that act as short-term rentals. So that's how we endeavored to start our own solution that was built just for the short-term rental industry. So kind of like the key things that we solve for vacation rentals. Number one is we want to help people become less dependent on OTAs. So like Alex said, syncing with all those channels is super important and is where you're going to drive the majority of your demand, especially when you're starting out a business. But over time, building that direct booking site where you can also drive bookings, you want to start converting more guests to book there, obviously, so that you're not only relying on these third parties to drive demand. So that's number one thing that we want to help people solve. Next is collecting guest data. So our solution helps you collect guest data from everybody staying in the property. So that's names, emails, phone numbers, even retargeting them on like Facebook and Instagram. We can help you do that as well. Helping folks automate their marketing. So I know especially smaller companies or managers that have a few listings, the idea of like starting an email marketing campaign can seem a little intimidating, or you don't have the resources or expertise to go into MailChimp and create these campaigns on a regular basis. So we help our customers automate marketing. So they only have to go in and set up 5 or 10 emails one time, and they know that content's going to get sent to all the guests that are staying with them. And then finally, because we're a Wi-Fi solution, there are benefits around managing all your Wi-Fi networks from the cloud, so you can see that they're all operating and working well for all your guests at all times. And if you do operate multi-family units, so multiple units next to each other in a building, we can help people consolidate networks into a building-wide mesh so they can actually reduce the number of internet connections that they're paying for. So just to kind of show you the general guest experience when you use StayFi, because after this I'll show you what it looks like from a manager's point of view. When a guest arrive at a property with StayFi, they go into their Wi-Fi selector. They'll see a guest network. When they join that, it will automatically launch a splash page on their device. They enter their information, hit connect, and then you can redirect that guest to any website you want. So your own direct booking site. If you don't have a direct booking site yet, you can send them to a digital house guide, a house guide PDF on Google Drive or Dropbox, or even to your own Airbnb listing if that's where you want to send them. So you can send guests anywhere you want. And then while you're doing that or sending guests to that place, in the back, we're sending that guest data we collect to any email marketing tool that you have set up, like MailChimp or Constant Contact. And that's where you can kick off that marketing automation I discussed before. So that's kind of the general overview, what the guest experience looks like. And then here is an actual, let me see if that's switched here. Yep. This is an actual account that uses StayFi. So when you sign up for a StayFi account, this is kind of the dashboard that opens. And on this dashboard, you can see this company has 5 properties, and they're all currently online with internet. There's actually no guests or devices online right now, which just means there's nobody in those homes. And you can see that in the last 7 days, these are how many guests have logged into the Wi-Fi in these different properties. And one nice thing that we can do is, because when guests log in, they're giving us their name and email. They log in one time per device. We know how many guests versus devices are in a specific rental unit. So you can see here for Airy had 11 guests and 19 devices. So that just means there were several devices that used the same name and email to log in. And that's how we know whether it's like one guest with 3 devices versus 3 guests with 3 devices. So we know guests versus devices in each property. And then over the longer period, you can see in 30 days, we're collecting a good amount of emails in all these properties. And so when you set up your StayFi account, the first thing people do is create a splash page. And this is that captive splash page I mentioned before that guests would have to log into. You can have unique ones for each property. So when I go in here to edit it, you just upload a logo, a background image. We're always going to collect name and email. But you can also collect phone number, birth date, as well as redirect guests to whatever website you'd like to send them to. So all of that's possible on the splash page. And because I'm on sharing, it's just taking longer. This is what it looks like, that specific splash page. And each one will be different, so you can have a different experience in each home. And then also one thing that we do is, I mentioned, we can actually count the number of guests in each property that are using the Wi-Fi. So we also use that for occupancy alerting. So outside of just collecting guest data, we're also helping protect your homes. So if the number of unique guests, so not just devices, but unique guests, exceeds whatever threshold you want, it will trigger an occupancy alert email to you so that you know there's too many guests staying in that property. I'm not going to show you the guest list with all the data because I don't want to expose the emails of all the people that have logged into the Wi-Fi, but I will show you that in this case, all of their guest data is being sent to MailChimp. So that's the email marketing tool that they use. And in MailChimp, they set up an automation campaign so that every guest, when they log in, they get a welcome email, another email in 30 days. And the idea is every guest will receive a series of emails over months or even a year, so that they only have to set up that kind of sequence of emails one time. And they know every guest is now receiving that marketing content. And with StayFi, we do have content or blog posts that show you how to create that type of series, as well as actually also giving you free templates you can use to create that series as well. Especially for MailChimp, we have the most content, as that's the most commonly used tool. So that way, we can walk you through how to set up that type of marketing automation. So once that's done, you know that everybody's going to receive that content, and you don't have to worry about creating, new email content every few weeks or months. Then finally, I'll just show you quickly access points. This is where you can actually see the status of Wi-Fi in all your properties. And here you can see it's been online for the last 24 hours. So this just gives you that additional view to make sure you know that all the Wi-Fi is working properly across all your different properties. So that's kind of like a high-level overview of the StayFi portal. So I guess I can pass it back to Alex and see, if there's anything else he wants to mention with Syncbnb. And then I guess we could take some questions as well. I think you're still on mute, Alex.
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry, I was muted. So thanks for this very insightful presentation. And I also have a few questions from watching it, and we will
Yeah.
also take questions from the audience. So just a quick information to our audience about how we integrate between us. So we're working on integration where Syncbnb customers will be able to see some information from StayFi, like maybe the number of active devices or people in their properties. So for very basic things, you can just see them in Syncbnb. And if you want to see more stats and more details, you just go to StayFi, log in there, and watch the rest there. So I have a question. So I wonder, do you have any statistics or any idea of how much someone that's using StayFi can improve his rebooking stats? So someone that maybe never got repeat bookings from customers that stayed, do they now start getting bookings from customers that stayed at their places because they're using StayFi?
Yeah, so we've done some kind of studies with customers where after like 6 months or a year, they give us all of their direct booking stats or bookings from their PMS, and then we actually go in and look and see which one of these guests did we collect their email during a prior stay. So I'll say the first thing we found in doing the studies is that like we collect around somewhere between 70 and 90% of all adult guest emails. So we found that if 10 people booked a home, we typically collect between 7 and 9 emails. Obviously, the number of emails you collect is going to be dependent on how many people use Wi-Fi. So what type of travel is it? How well is the Wi-Fi network advertised in the property? And then to give an example with one customer, after 6 months, they had StayFi installed in, I believe, 40 homes. They collected 8,000 emails in the first 6 months. And in those 6 months, they had 22 direct bookings, which totaled about $48,000 in revenue. And in that case, they actually gave people a 10% off code for a repeat direct booking via email when they log into the Wi-Fi for the first time. So we were just counting people that use that 10% off code for a future booking. And that's obviously in the first 6 months. And so over time, those people are going to book again and again, or maybe some of the emails you collected are going to book even further out. So we know over time, the number of direct bookings rises from the email list that we're collecting. And then also people use that email list for other things too. So I'd say one other big area of opportunity is if you also do real estate. So there's a lot of folks in the US, especially who do have a traditional kind of real estate business and vacation rental property management business, because the people that stay in your properties are also great leads as potential home buyers in that area. So obviously you want to convert them into being a second home purchaser and then manage their home also as a vacation rental. So there's definitely other ways people use the data. On top of that, if people offer additional value add services during the stay, you can trigger a welcome email to every guest that includes links to any rentals or services you offer during the stay. So direct booking and brand building, obviously key part of using the product, but then there's also ways to generate value in other segments or businesses that you're also operating.
Great. So while we're waiting for questions from the audience, so by the way, you can just type your question in the chat box. It should be on the bottom right for most of you. Not sure. Anyway, you'll find the chat box. Just ask your questions there, either for Arthur or for me, and we'll just reply them when we read them. And while people are typing in their questions, let me ask a second one. How do you know how many Wi-Fi devices need to be installed in a home, and what's the process by which you propose to your customers how many devices to put and where to put them?
Yeah, so to kind of talk, I didn't talk about the setup process in the demo, so I'll talk a little bit about that right now. So in order to set up StayFi, we use Wi-Fi access points that are from a company called Ubiquiti. They're also called Unify access points, Ubiquiti Unify access points. And in the United States, we sell those access points to our customers. So what's nice about that is when we sell them, they come already like adopted is the word to your account. So they get shipped to you and they're ready to plug into the router. Outside of the United States, people can buy those access points directly from the manufacturer. So for instance, in Europe, Ubiquiti ships to like every country and will come with the correct power supply for like whatever power plugs in the UK versus in the EU or wherever you are. And they also sell access points. You can buy them virtually in every country in the world. So that's why we can work anywhere because, you know, from Costa Rica to Dubai to South Africa, people have just gone and purchased access points locally because Ubiquiti is one of the top 3 brands in terms of Wi-Fi hardware in the world. So very easy to get hardware. It's generally, I'd say, pretty affordable in terms of Wi-Fi hardware too. The access point goes anywhere between like 80 to 150 US dollars, depending on what type you buy. So there's like a few different models, and we help our customers pick the best model that's appropriate for their type of rental. And then in terms of how many you would need to set up the mesh network, it's going to be very comparable to other mesh networks you may have used in the past, like consumer grade ones like Google or Arrow. So typically anything under 5 bedrooms really only needs one access point is what they're called. And these plug into the router and are what's broadcasting the guest network with the splash page. Anything larger than that or like over 2 stories, if you want to achieve full coverage, you might need 2 or 3 devices. And the second and third device just get plugged into power and act as mesh repeaters in the Wi-Fi system. And if you do operate in like a condo building where every unit has its own internet service, if you have multiple units next to each other, one nice thing about the Ubiquiti hardware and the guest network we'll be broadcasting is it's going to be treated as one network by all devices, and all those access points will mesh together. So what that means is effectively you're setting up Wi-Fi like a hotel, where if I log in one access point, my device is authorized and works in the entire building. And I'm not going to see like 10 Wi-Fi networks on the device. I'll just see one. And then you can move around the building, stay on the same Wi-Fi network. And that's how we're also able to reduce the number of internet subscriptions people are paying for, because then you only need internet in like every other unit to achieve full coverage. So there's like different approaches, and depending on the types of units you own or manage, you know, we can help you pick the best hardware that's going to make the most sense for that situation.
Got it. Thanks. Yeah. So for people that don't know it, Ubiquiti makes some of the best Wi-Fi repeaters and access points available. We use them in our office, and we're amazed. We always had problems with any brand we were using, and when we switched to Ubiquiti, everything started working magically. So I would suggest it, even if you don't use StayFi and you need some good Wi-Fi for your home, just get Ubiquiti. They're great devices. So kudos for that. We have a few questions from the audience we can start answering. So someone's asking, is it only mail contact with the guests? What about text message?
Yeah, so we're right now building a text message tool that will be internal to StayFi, because most people have an email marketing tool that they use, whether it's MailChimp, and those tools are all great and have a ton of features. So our kind of approach has been to plug into those tools. Most people don't have an SMS marketing tool. So we are going to build one within StayFi that we're working right now. But we do have customers that do, because you can collect phone number on the splash page, and you can collect an SMS opt-in in your kind of checkbox that you can program or define. So we do have customers, if you do have an SMS marketing tool, you can collect phone numbers and then import those phone numbers to your tool and use it to do SMS marketing. So you can collect the data, but we are building a tool so you can actually do those types of marketing within StayFi. And that's really going to be focused on, I say, a few things. One will be like welcome SMS. So when somebody logs in, it will automate a welcome SMS with a link to like a guidebook or to your website or to a deal, whatever you want. and it will clearly tell the guest that this SMS is not for like customer service, and we'll have like a responder to tell them like what to do if they need actual assistance, because we don't want to build like a customer service tool, really just one-way SMS. We'll have SMS automation around gathering reviews, especially for third-party sites like Google or Facebook. And then finally, the ability to send like promotions or like a mass SMS message to your entire list.
Sounds great. All these are things that hosts need all over the world. So I'm sure you'll have a lot of traction, especially for those services and the ones you already have. Let's see if we have any more questions from the audience. Someone's typing, so let's see what question pops up here in the chat. Until then, can you tell us, Arthur, which countries you're available in?
Yeah, so we'll work anywhere. And so the way it works is, let's say you're in the EU. If you create an account on StayFi.com, there's no charge to going to StayFi.com and signing up. So if you want to create an account and look around, you're more than welcome to do that. Then you just email support@StayFi.com or me, Arthur@StayFi.com, letting me know like, hey, I'm in France and I want to set up StayFi. We can do a quick Zoom. I can explain based on the type of properties you operate, what the right hardware is, and then we'll send you links to like purchase, these 3 access points from the Ubiquiti Europe store. And then we'll have another call when you get the equipment. It'll take about 20 or 30 minutes where we can adopt, just like the word, these access points to your account. And we typically can adopt them all at one time, like at your office or home. And then you can go place them in the properties whenever they're open and free. So the adoption is just a one-time activity to put them on your account. And then you can go put them in the home where you want to use them. So you don't have to do it actually in the property.
Do you, when the guest enters his email to get Wi-Fi access, do you verify that email, or does he just need to give an email and he's in directly?
Yeah, so we use a third-party service called Zero Bounce to validate email addresses. And you can set it up 2 ways. One is do the check after they log in, and then you'll just see in your list which emails are valid or invalid, or you can do the check on the splash page. If you do that, if somebody enters a bogus email, it will reject it and ask them to enter a valid one. When Zero Bounce doesn't know, which happens about 1% of the time, it like throws an unknown status. We just let them on the Wi-Fi because we don't want to block somebody if they happen to be entering a real email and Zero Bounce doesn't know. And we found with that, we get over 99% valid emails that don't bounce when people email them. So a few invalid emails slip through, but you're going to collect over 99% valid emails with that Zero Bounce tool that we've added.
So you don't send a verification email he has to answer before he gets online?
Because that can just create, we actually thought about that. And then when we went and gamed it out, like if somebody doesn't click it, then they get kicked out. They need Wi-Fi to get to their email. Then they don't click it, they get kicked off again. And it just becomes like a loop, a nightmare loop. So I think just getting like 99% plus correct, using that very simple solution was better than something much more onerous for the guest just to collect that like small segment more of emails.
Yeah. So I guess this answers George's question. So what happens if the email isn't true? Can they still connect? The answer is if the email is valid, even if it doesn't belong to that specific person, he will get online. If it's not a valid email, which means it doesn't exist at all, then he will not get Wi-Fi access.
Yeah, and it's not just, just to clarify, Zero Bounce is not just valid, invalid. They have other categories like spam, trap, abuse. So if you enter an email that is real, but it's like, swear word at gmail.com, it will reject it because it's like an abuse or spam email. So there's like some more AI that goes into the email validation than just valid or not valid.
Okay, great. And Matt is asking, what if a guest does not want to provide their phone number? Can they include just their email address?
Yeah, so the phone number field's always optional.
Even if the host wants it to be obligatory?
Yeah, so right now we only require name and email, and the phone number field's always optional. That might change in the future when we have the internal SMS tool, where we might require the phone number, but then the guest can opt in and out of SMS for our own tool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess the host has the phone number of the main guest that did the
Yeah,
booking, which is the important thing. The
yeah.
other guest in the house, there's no reason for the host to know their phone numbers. So it's makes
Only if
absolute sense
you
not
want
to
to
be
use it for marketing, and then if you want to use it for marketing, you need to get that opt-in. So
yeah, great. Okay, so I think those are all the questions. Matt is
I
typing
saw George
something.
had one more question about customizing
Oh,
splash pages. Yeah, so I'll just say you can customize splash pages on a property by property basis. So you can have different splash pages for different homes. On that splash page, you can customize the logo, imagery, text, the fields you want to collect. And then we have some styling, customization like button colors, logo size, background transparency, so how like opaque the image is. So there's like different ways to style the splash page. It's not like a full, like you can customize the HTML and make it design completely yourself, but there are like different styling options we provide.
great. Let me just repeat the offers that are available for our visitors today and the audience. So anyone that's visiting here from StayFi can get 30% discount for Syncbnb for the first 3 months if they want to try us out. And all the customers and all the people that are here from our side, so they learned about StayFi today, they can get an offer 50% discount for StayFi. You can see more when you log into your Syncbnb account and go to Marketplace. Just click on StayFi and you will see more information about that offer. So maybe, I don't know if there's anything else. So when will the SMS marketing functionality be available for existing customer is asked by Matt again.
We're aiming for the beginning of next year.
Okay, cool.
But we'll probably be in a beta. So Matt, I will, when we do the beta, I will reach out to you.
Are there any questions about Syncbnb? So maybe people here that don't just learn about Syncbnb today, or they've never used us and want to ask something, please feel free. Just ask in the chat and I'll be happy to answer those questions. And unless we see any questions coming in, I'll just say thank you to Arthur for being here today and offering his insight and very interesting demo and more information about his service. Thank you very much to all the attendees that were here today to learn more about both of our services and how our integration can help hosts all over the world increase their revenue and increase their direct bookings, which is the most important part of the revenue of a vacation rental owner or manager. Because as you all probably know, direct bookings enable you to first build your own brand, which is very important for a professional in our field. Second, you can avoid the platform fees. So instead of paying 15% or 18% to a platform, you can keep that money and spend it on marketing or spend it on improving your property. And that will improve your business overall. And it's very important. And also with direct bookings, you control the experience, which for me is the most important part and the most important advantage of getting direct bookings and working on them. Because when you control the experience, you have the full ownership of the journey of the customer. So for example, remember when Airbnb decided to refund every guest during the pandemic? Then there was nothing you could do, even if you had a strict cancellation policy. So with direct bookings, that would not happen. With it, if you had direct bookings and all the direct bookings that you got, you would control and you would be able to keep your cancellation policy and enforce your cancellation policy, and not be defined by a third party about what's going to happen. So there's a multitude of reasons why direct bookings are very important. And by the way, since you're here, anyone that wants to build his own direct booking website, we have a guide that we've prepared with step-by-step instructions, videos, screenshots, animated GIFs. Everything is there to help you build your own direct booking website and start accepting direct bookings right away. It's a 15-step process. It's very easy. Anyone can do it. If you can create an Airbnb account, you can do it also on your own. It's just point and click, no code required, and the total cost for that is less than $100. So just Google how to build my own direct booking website, and Google the first link that comes up. It's the Syncbnb guide. Just click that, and you will see the guide on how to build your own direct bookings. And now that you have more direct bookings, you can use those guests that come and get their email and do remarketing and get even more. So it's a flywheel that keeps turning and turning faster, that will enable everyone to improve their business and become a better professional in this market. So since I was talking, we've also had a few more questions. Arthur, would you like to read them out and answer them?
Well, there's a question about Vrbo rates, but I feel like that got answered by Janet.
That's for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Let me get this out of the way so that you can read the rest one, and when you find someone that refers to you, you can answer it. So Syncbnb is the only platform that syncs with Vrbo. No, Syncbnb is the only platform that can synchronize in real time the availability and rates for customers that have less than 5 properties on Vrbo. And that's almost 95% of Vrbo customers. The reason is the official Vrbo API is only available for customers than more than 5 properties. So if you're a small manager or an owner with a few homes, you cannot use the Vrbo API. You either have to give ownership of your properties and the accounts you have on Vrbo to another property manager that has more, and he will manage them for you and give you your money. If you want to keep ownership, the only service that can synchronize rates and availability in real time is Syncbnb, because we built a custom system to log into Vrbo and use its internal system to update everything, rates and availability. And I'm amazed that no one else has done it yet, but we're the first. You can try it out. It's not publicly available yet. It's tested internally. It will be public in a few weeks. But if anyone wants to learn more, just send an email to alex@syncbnb.com. I'll be happy to give you a demo and show you how it works. Georgia, we need more information about payment conditions for Syncbnb and StayFi. Sure. So Georgia, Syncbnb costs $19 per month per property. And if you have many properties, the price drops. So you can pay $5 per property if you have many of them. And we also have annual discounts. So if you prepay annually, you get an extra 20% discount on top of that. And if you come from StayFi, you get an extra 30% on top of all of that for the first 3 months. So that's the how much Syncbnb costs. And for StayFi, I'll just let Arthur answer that.
Yeah, so we're similar. We have a monthly subscription. It's based on how many access points you have. So once you have the hardware, which you can either purchase from us or acquire on your own, it ranges between $3 to $6 a month per device, just depending on how many you have in your system. And that's available on the website on our pricing page, so you can see the details there. And we only charge you for devices that you're actively using. So if you buy 10 devices and only deploy 2, you only pay for the 2 you're using.
Novelette, is asking, can you elaborate more on the web page building tool on Syncbnb? Sure. So there's 2 options for you. One is build it on your own. And for that, we offer a full guide that explains step-by-step the process, how to do it on your own. If you don't want to do it on your own, we have a service that's called Website Builder. And for $600, we will build your website for you and deliver it ready, running on a hosting provider that you will choose. We propose GoDaddy because we've done dozens of them on GoDaddy and it works fine. But you can use any hosting provider you want, and it's yours forever. The difference between the existing website builders you will find in the market is that most of them right now are subscription-based. So to get your own direct booking website, you need to pay like $30 a month just to have it running. And if you want to leave those guys, so it's usually PMSs that offer it. If you want to leave that PMS, you lose the website. So you have to build it all over again. With our solution, we build it. You can use Syncbnb's channel manager or not. It's totally irrelevant. And if you're using Syncbnb channel manager and decide to leave one day, you keep your website and it's fully operational and it's not affected in any way. So that's a difference between what's available in the market right now. And I hope I answered that question with this answer. George is asking, can I see all my bookings at the same time if I'm registered on Syncbnb? The answer is yes. I showed a quick preview of that earlier in the presentation, and I'd be happy to show anyone here, live, one-on-one, a full demo to see more. And yes, you can see all your bookings in one place. And I think those were the questions, right? Arthur, am I missing any?
No, that's all I saw.
Okay, great. So it's been 45 minutes. That was the scheduled time for this webinar. And it's perfect because we're just ending, having answered all those questions. Arthur, thank you again. Everyone that was here today, thank you very much for being here. And hope to see you again in our next webinar. Maria, thank you very much for setting this up. She will send an email to everyone with the recording of this webinar in case you want to see it again or you want to share it with your friends or colleagues or anyone that might be interested in. And have a great night if you're in the in our part of the world, or day if you're in Arthur's part of the world. And thank you and bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Bye, Arthur.